Okay, welcome back to FTL Easy Mode Engi ship playthrough. When we left off, I was just about to jump out of Sector 6, so let's go ahead and do that. Here we are given the option of jumping either through a Rebel-controlled sector or a Mantis-controlled sector. I'm going to go to the Mantis sector just because you're more likely to come across Mantis people in general, and I'd really like to get another Mantis crew member so I can do some boarding, hopefully before the end of the game. So let's see how that goes. There's a distress call over here, so let's check that out. More giant alien spiders. As usual, we're going to ignore that. Let's check out this distress signal. Alright, here we have another haywire defense system, and you can see we have 3 blue options now. One from our ion weapon, one from cloaking, and one from our Engi crew. This time we'll use the Engi crew. We get almost 80 scrap, which is amazing, and some missiles and drone parts. That's good because this time I'm going to get my shields fully upgraded before we go into the endgame. And up here we come across a deactivated automatic scout ship. We are going to attempt to download its data stores. We're not successful, so we activate it, but with 2 ion blasts and a burst laser, we should be able to take this guy down pretty quickly. You can see my weapons are missing a lot because this is later in the game, so these automated ships have a very high evasion. I think it's a nice little bit of flavor that ships without living crew on them can, take evasive maneuvers that would otherwise be too dangerous. It's pretty cool. They started a fire in an empty room, which I'm not going to try and put out manually. I'm just going to suck all the air out of that section of the ship and let it go out on its own. And we're able to take out its weapons system before it can get another missile off, so that's good news. And as I've said before, I'm not doing a lot of damage with this weapon loadout, but I'm making it really, really difficult for enemy ships to do anything against me beyond, the opening salvo of the fight. So, it's pretty cool. It's a little boring, but it works, so I'm going to go with it unless something better comes along. Now we have over 200 scrap, and I'm going to spend almost all of it on upgrading my shields. It costs 180 scrap to go those last 2 upgrade levels in your shields and get that 4th shield bubble. I could power down my engines a little bit to upgrade my shields right now, but I'm not too worried about it yet. I am almost completely out of fuel, so it's very good that there's a store nearby. Unfortunately, we jumped right next to a sun, and hostile people just teleported onto my ship. Fortunately, they're humans, so my Mantis will be able to take them out pretty quickly. I'm just kind of queuing my guys up here so they'll come in at the same time. And I will fight them off, hopefully, while not getting too many fires started on my ship. You can see my engine charged ridiculously quickly, which I'm not sure why, but I'll take it. So I'm actually just going to jump to the store while fighting those guys. There's no reason to linger in the dangerous sector for any longer than I need to. And let's see, I already have an automated reloader, and I don't know if the bonuses stack from having multiple copies of the same augmentation, but I don't think they do, so I'm not going to buy another one. I could sell everything I have to buy that weapon pre-igniter, but it's not worth it. I'm just going to buy all their fuel and be on my way. I'd love to get that defense drone because I don't currently have any, but I can't afford it, so I'll just have to do without. Tackling the final boss without any defense drones is definitely hard, but it's not nearly as hard as tackling the final boss without, say, cloaking. So I'm not too worried about that. I'll send those guys down to the med bay to heal up and make another jump. Alright, we find another intruder on deck, but this time it is a Mantis who is begging for sanctuary from the Engi, and he will serve on our crew in exchange for our protection. Now there's a chance that he's lying, and he's actually kind of a double agent that they've sent on board to sabotage our ship before they attack us. But I would really, really like to get 2 Mantis on my crew to do some boarding, so I'm going to take that chance and side with him. It turns out that was the right choice. He was being honest, so now I have another Mantis crew member, which is great. And now I can attack that enemy ship. And hopefully what you'll see here is I will be able to take down their shields and then take out their medbay. And then I'll be able to send my guys over and wreck their shit with some hand-to-hand combat. So with my Ion Blast keeping their shields down, I'm going to target my Burst Laser at their medbay. Now that I've seen the medbay has been destroyed, I know that their crew are not going to be able to heal from a fight, so I'm going to take both of my Mantis, who are standing in the teleport room, and I'm going to send them onto their ship. Since I can only board 2 people at a time, I'm going to board them into a room that only has 2 spaces to occupy. That way my crew can't be outnumbered in the fight. And we'll see what's going on. You can see the pilot of their ship is an Engi who's going to die very, very quickly. They send another one in to join the fight, but since Engi do very little damage in hand-to-hand combat, they have absolutely no chance against my 2 Mantises. That guy is actually running off to heal, so I'm going to fire at his medbay one more time just to make sure it stays down. And with that guy out of the way, I'm going to run over to the medbay and see if I can find that other Engi. Yeah, he's in there, he's trying to heal up, but against 2 Mantises, he can't actually heal fast enough, even with the medbay, to survive. So we kill him. We get a whole bunch of scrap, because you generally get more scrap from killing the crew of a ship than you do from destroying the ship outright, which makes sense. And, as a bonus, we get yet another crew member. It's another Engi, so it's not as good as it could be, but more crew is good crew. So I'm going to send my Mantis in to heal up now that we have a proper boarding party. This is very exciting. It's a little late in the game to make a huge difference, but it's still more fun than just shooting things non-stop. Now that they're healed up, I will make another jump. Actually, before I jump, I'm going to buy some more reactor power. So now I've got full shields. Full shields, a boarding party, and some really good weapons. We are in good shape for the end of the game. And here we come across a Mantis ship. They have a teleporter, so they're going to board me. But since I have 2 Mantis, one of whom is pretty experienced at fighting now, I shouldn't have too much trouble fending them off and then invading their ship myself. And right on cue, they invade my ship. It looks like they're heading to my oxygen room, so I'm going to send my Mantis in there to wait for them. And while I'm doing that, I'm just going to focus on taking down their weapons once I get their shields dealt with. You can see my Mantis are losing this fight, but since I have a medbay, I'm not actually worried about it. I'll just send them running over there once they get a little bit lower in health. Oh, well, there we go. The enemy crew have actually teleported away because they were low on health. With that missile coming in, I'm going to cloak. I'm going to de-target my burst laser because I do not want to blow up their ship with my crew on it. I've done that more times than I'd like to admit, and I have certainly lost crew members because of that. They're trying to jump away, so I'm going to retarget one of my ion blasts at their engines to prevent that. I'm going to send my 2 spare Engi in to repair my sensors while my guys heal. And now it's just a matter of keeping them from escaping while I wait for my guys to heal up. Once they've healed, I'll take out their medbay like I did in the last fight, and then go in there and finish them off hand-to-hand. So one last volley from my burst laser ought to do it. Yep, there we go. I'll de-target that again, and send my guys over. Oh, there's fire there, so I'm actually going to run them into the cockpit so they're not taking damage while they fight. And it looks like they have one guy left. No, they have 2 guys left who are trying to heal, but both of my Mantis are pretty tough, so there we go. We win the fight, we get a whole bunch of scrap. didn't lose any crew member. They didn't get away. That was a good boarding action overall. And now I'm just going to wait for my guys to heal up. I'm going to take a look around before I jump. There's that store back there, but I don't actually have time to get back there before the Rebel fleet catches up, so I'm going to keep jumping down here. Maybe there will be one more store before we get to the end of this map. I'll wait for my dudes to be fully healed before I do that, though. Alright, another offer to sell missiles for scrap. We will say yes, because more scrap is never a bad thing, and we're not using missiles. I have enough now that all of my critical systems are pretty well upgraded, so I'm going to spend 50 scrap to max out my doors, because that's always handy. And then I'm going to spend another 70 scrap to max up my reactor. So now I currently have more power than I know what to do with, but that's fine, because I'll either hopefully get some boarding drones for the last fight, or if I don't, I can just put some more power into my engine with a couple more upgrades, and that'll be really handy. So let's make a jump here. And we come across another Mantis ship chasing a civilian ship. We're going to try and help them out. They're going to send over another boarding party. And they teleported into my oxygen room again, which is annoying because I don't want them to take that out. And this time I'm targeting their shields and their weapons, just because I'd like to get those weapons deactivated as quickly as I can, ideally without doing too much damage to their ship. You can see my guys are taking a real beating. I think enemy crew can be leveled up in various skills, just like your crew can, because it seems like sometimes, like in this case, their Mantis are doing a lot more damage than mine are. But I'm not positive about that, so I'm going to send them to heal. I'll let them take out my oxygen. It won't run out in enough time for there to be a huge difference made. My weapon room guy is getting really low on health, so I'm going to have him flee, which is unfortunate, but not much I can do about it right now. So we've kind of reached a stalemate at the moment, at least until my Mantis get healed up enough to go after their ship. The bad news is that I'm rapidly losing weapons systems due to all that fire, so I'm going to have to open that to a vacuum. The nice thing about that is the vacuum actually killed both of those Mantis, so, you know, yay for that. I have just enough weapon power left to hopefully take out their med bay. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to close the doors to the outside, and I'm going to send my 2 spare Engi over to fix the oxygen. And like I've said before, it's important to get good at multitasking in this game, and that's exactly what I'm trying to do here. The Engi have repaired the oxygen, so that's good to go. I could send them to repair the weapons, but I don't want to get distracted and leave them in the vacuum and have them take more damage than they need to. So instead, with their medbay disabled, I'm going to teleport my guys over. And now that there is room in the medbay, I'm going to send the Engi over there. Send my weapons guy back to the weapons room to start repairing. Fire in my drone room, not an issue because I'm not using drones. So I'm just going to open that to vacuum and let it put itself out. And their last crew member is a poor, unsuspecting Engi himself, so he's going to go down very quickly. And there we go. We take out their crew, we get a whole bunch of scrap, and we get even more scrap from the civilian ship that we saved. So, all good news. They got one last bomb off that set a fire in my sensor room. They must be using fire bombs, which are, like I said, annoying, but not usually, you know, life-threateningly dangerous. I'll just send in my Engi to put that out. I'm going to teleport my Mantis back onto the ship so they can heal up. I'll send my spare guy up to the drone room to repair it, just for the sake of having it repaired. I'm going to send my spare Engi up to finish repairing my weapons bay, because that obviously needs a lot of work, and you can see how quickly that bar fills up when you've got 3 dudes working on repairs. It's really nice. With that fixed, I'm going to heal up my Engi. And with them healed up, I am all set. Is there anything I want to spend upgrade money on? Not just yet. Got time to visit one more beacon before I have to go to the exit, so I'm going to do that. And, okay, this one's funny. We detect and retrieve an escape pod floating by. You consider returning it to space when you learn its mantis. This one, there's a chance that it will contain a mantis who will be thankful for saving his life and will join your crew, which should be good. There's also a chance that the mantis inside will be extremely angry and will just immediately eviscerate one of your crew members, which means you lose a crew member. Since I have a full crew, there's no reason for me to take that risk, so I'm going to send it back out. And the flavor text is really funny. You send the pod back out the airlock. You're not stupid. I did feel stupid the first time I fell for that, and an angry mantis killed one of my crew members. Here we are at the last jump point. Lose fuel to get drone parts. We're not using drones, and we are really low on fuel, so no. And here we are, the last sector again. Considerably quicker this time because I was not doing as much explaining during the playthrough. Here we are again, going through the flavor text. And more importantly, we get 10 free fuel back, so we don't have to worry about running out of fuel in this last sector. That's why I didn't make getting more fuel a priority in that last area. We have 124 scrap, so I'm tempted to immediately spend it on upgrading my engines. But there are stores hidden somewhere in this map. There's usually one, I think maybe there's two, but I've only ever really come across one. So it might be wiser to save that money, hope I come across a store, and then maybe buy a couple defense drones or something. Since I'm doing okay on engine power right now, 3 bars is more than I often have at this point in the game, I'm just going to save the cash for now and see what I come across. Here we come across an automated attack ship, and it's the standard thing here. Just going to target his shields with both of my ion blasts, and then once those are down, I'll hit his weapons with my burst laser. He's got a level 2 attack drone here. It moves faster and fires more quickly than the level 1s, but like I said, attack drones, unless they're in huge numbers like that super attack the second form of the final boss has, they're just not much of a threat. It can be a real problem if they manage to take your shields down completely, but if you're playing right and you have good upgrades, that should almost never happen. And yeah, even with his high evasion, he's got so many ion blasts coming at him that there is just nothing he can do about this. I think we can see why Ion Blast 2 is a relatively uncommon weapon, because man, when you have 2 of them, it's ridiculous. It's even sillier than having 2 Burst Laser 2s. And it's really funny how long this fight is taking, because I'm only doing a maximum of 3 damage per weapon round, but he just can't fight back. It's funny, but it's also probably kind of boring to watch, so hopefully if I do another playthrough after this, it'll be with something a little bit more interesting. And there we go, he is taken out. Get a whole bunch of scrap. And there we go, I was right, there's a store right up there. Let's see what it has. And it's got some drones, but none of them are particularly useful for my needs. Again, if I were focusing on a drone-based offense, maybe I would want to buy the anti-ship or the beam drones, but not really that interested. The anti-personnel drone, I've used on occasion, but like all of the drones, where it lands in the enemy ship is random, so it's very difficult to really get it to do exactly what you want. And like the enemy anti-personnel drones, they don't actually do very much damage. They just have a lot of health. So they're good for tying up crew, but honestly, you're better off spending that money and the power requirements on something else. I could buy the long-range scanners, but it's not really necessary at this point. I could buy the advanced FTL navigation, except that I never ever use that. Don't really have anything I want to sell. And I'm honestly good on fuel, so let's just spend all of that money on some upgrades. I'm going to buy 2 engine upgrades to use the last of my power, and now my evasion percentage is up to 45%, which is fantastic. Means statistically almost half of the enemy's shots at me are going to miss now, which is wonderful. And the remaining money, let's see, at this point I'm just going to upgrade things for the sake of giving them an additional health bar. I'm going to upgrade my medbay just because it's good to have the faster healing that provides. And I'll upgrade my teleporter just because an upgraded teleporter, if you have it fully powered, it will cool down more quickly, which means you can get your crew on and off enemy ships faster, which is very useful, especially when you're fighting the final boss. And you'll see the crew boarding tactic I use for that in just a few minutes. So with all of that said and done, I think it's time to just start heading for the enemy flagship. Here we come across a fleet engagement, and a rebel scout has jumped nearby to harass us. He's got a missile launcher, but I've got cloaking and a shit ton of ion blasts, so I am not worried about this guy. Target my burst laser, remember to cloak. And yeah, with my engine upgraded as much as it is, now when I cloak, my evasion rises to 100%. So now, anytime I'm cloaked, nothing should be able to hit me, which is great. I'm going to retarget one of my ion blasts at his engines just to make sure that missile launcher stays out of commission, because this guy is going to take quite a while to whittle down with just one burst laser. And I've never gone into the final boss fight with so little direct damage capability, so I'm pretty curious to see how that works out, if I can actually survive its attacks for long enough to wear it down. And at this point, I'm thinking it might have been faster just to take out their medbay and send my Mantis on board, but they have 4 crew members, and even good Mantis fighters have a hard time with 2-to-1 odds. So I'm going to play it safe, take it slow, and do it the manual way. There we go. And we get some more scrap, which we don't really need, but whatever, and we can jump one step closer to the flagship. Let's see, we could try to activate this ship's data stores, but honestly, I'll just strip the ship for any useful scrap, get some free scrap out of it, avoid a fight that we don't need to have, and level up just a couple more things. Because why not? And with that, we are within range of the Rebel flagship, which is what I will tackle next time. See you then.